1-4 Quality Insurance Modification Reference and note that the deleted brackets word within the brackets that there is no lead fuel in the tank. Except for the modifications herein, their work shall be conformed to the recommendations of the AIP RP 500 or ARP 200 2013 API Standards 2015. Whether the word should or appear in the publication, substitute shall. 1-2 The copies of standards note that delete the brackets word in the brackets there is no lead fuel in the tank. Furnish the 4 copies of the AIP RP 500 AAPI RP 200 2013 AIP 2015 safety permits. Equipment acquire safety permits for specified facility safety authorities necessary to safety equipment. Regulatory requirements obtaining permits that comply with the local, state, federal regulations. B. The hazardous waste, water, sediment, sludge, what shall be packed and labeled and stored and transported, treated, or disposed of in accordance with the type within Title 49 of the Code of Federal Regulations 260 through Title 40 Code Federal Regulations 266. The state and local regulations transport orders, sorters, treaters, and disposers must be certified by the EPI ID members. Payment with disposal of the hazardous waste will not be used in the completed hazardous waste. The manifest the treatment and disposal facilities is returned in the copy of the furnished to the government. Delivery hazardous waste to the government disposal as directed by the contracting officers. 145 The medical examinations delete if there is no lead hazard before exposure to lead contaminated fuel tank. A completion of the work provided by the worker's comprehensive medical examination as required by Title 29 of the Code of Federal Regulation 1910.1025 and the Code Title 2019 Code of Federal Regulations 1910-1200. The initial examinations will not be required for the adequate record shown in the employees explained. It has been employees that have been examined by the required of the Title 29, 1910 and .10225 within the last year. The blood lead levels did not exceed 30 micrograms per 100 grams of whole blood. 146 Medical records delete if there is no lead hazard. Maintain complete, accurate medical records of the employee for the period of at least 40 years of the duration of employment plus 20 years, which is ever is longer. The certified industrial hygienist responsibility, certified training, review, approval of safety plans, working plan of the conformance of the applicable reference standards, inspect the tank cleaning work of the conformance with the approval of safety works, direct monitoring, ensure that work is performed in strict accordance with specifications of all times, ensure hazardous exposures to the personnel environmental area, the equipment adequately controlled all times. Training delete 29 Title 29 Code Federal Regulation 1910.1025 that there's no lead hazard. Training employees performing on tank cleaning, waste disposal, air sampling operations prior to the time initial job I'm in the accordance with the AIP standards of the 2015 Title 29 CO Code Federal Regulation 1910.120. Title 29 Code for Regulations 1910.134 and Title 29 Code for Regulations 1910.1025 and 1910.1200. Training shall also be included in the counseling and employees' reproductive hazards, including involved in work respiratory protection. No delete if there's no lead hazard. Furnishing employee required for the wearing negative pressure respirator, other appropriate test types of the respirator fit to the test at the time initial fitting at least every 6 months thereafter is required by the Title 29 Code Federal Regulations 1910.1025. Where lead exposure is involved, fit testing is not required for the positive pressure respiratory. Establish implement respiratory protection program is required by Title 29 Code Federal Regulations 1910.1035, Title 29 Code Federal Regulations 1926-555. Also comply Title 29 Code Federal Regulations 1910.1025 when the exposure is to lead lead when an exposure to lead is involved. 410 Pre-Construction Conference. Along with a certified industrial hygienist, the marine chemist, the gas-free engineer meet with the contracting office to discuss in detail a tank cleaning work plan, including the work procedures precaution for the work plan. 1411 certificates. 14111 qualifications of marine Chemist. Submit the name, address, telephone number of the marine chemist selected to perform the required duties. Submit the documentation of the Marine Chemist to Certified National Fire Protection Association, including the certificate numbers, date, and certificate recertification. The MFPA certification will be applicable for non-ship work on this contract. 14112 qualifications of certified industrial hygiene. Submit name, address, telephone number of the CIH and selected to perform the responsibility in paragraph entitled by the certified industrial hygiene responsibility provided by previous experience of the CIH. Submitted the proper documentation that the industrial hygiene is certified by the American Board of Industrial Hygiene comprehensive practices, including certification number, date of the certification, recertification. The CIH shall be familiar with the hazards involved in the fuel system work. Testing laboratory 14113. Submit the name, address, telephone number of the testing laboratory selected by the performing monitoring, testing, reporting airborne concentration, lead, or other contaminants provided by poor documentation of the person performing the analysis have been judged and proficiency, success, full participation within the last year of the National Institution of Occupational Safety Health, the INOSH Proficiency Analytic Testing, the PAT program in the laboratory shall be accredited by the American Industrial Hygiene Association, the AIHA. The American Industrial Hygiene Association documentation, along with the accreditation and reaccreditation. 14114 safety plan. Submitting a safety plan within 45 days after the contract and 30 days prior to the commencing of work. The safety program shall be reviewed and approved for the safety health officers of facility. The safety plan shall meet the OSHA requirements addressing the following: identification and evaluation of the hazardous risk associated with each site building being studied, including reproductive hazardous precautionary measures to be followed by the workers of all hazard, name and qualification of each contractor represented in charge with the work and present with the job site. Tank cleaning and repair of the work will be performed. Identification supervisor personnel, alternate responsibility, site and safety response operations. Determine level of personnel protection to be worn by the various site operations. List of equipment and the adequate nomenclature by items will be used on the job site. The date and location of the equipment can be inspected by the contracting officer. Establishing work zones, exclusion area, contamination area, the supported area established by the tank entry work permit program in accordance with within Title 29 Code Federal Regulations 1910.1046 and EM 38511. Establishing decontamination method procedures. Determining the number of people required to enter the contamination zone during the initial entry and subsequent operations, establishing emergency procedures such as escape routes, fire protection and signals, withdrawing work parties from the site, emergency communications indicators, including Navy notification, identification of the arrangements of the nearest medical facility, emergency medical care with routine type injury, toxicological problems, submitting name, location, telephone number of the medical facility, establishing continual air and personal monitoring procedures, establishing procedure, obtaining, handling potential contaminated samples, identification, medical monitoring program, including the respirator medical qualification examination for each individual on the worksite, identification training instituted, including the contents of Title 29 Code Federal Regulations 1910, 1200, and 134, and training contents and the instructor with the appropriate training certification. Training plan shall also include the counseling to each employee, reproductive hazards, establishing respiratory protection conforming to the Title 29 Code Federal Regulations 19101.134, establishing the hazardous communication problems in Title 29 Code Federal Regulations 1910-1200 areas. 14115, the work plan. These paragraphs shall be obtained by the commanding officer, individual Navy officer having tanks of cleaning, shutting down the interpretation of the normal operations of the traffic shall be listed on the progress schedule and submitted to the contracting officer. If there is no new hazards in the project, edited hazards to be disposed by the government designer, but verifying the government disposal. If practical, make all arrangements of the government disposal. 14116 is hazardous waste disposal plan. Prepare a hazardous waste disposal plan. Submit within 45 days of the blank calendars on the contractor awarded to the approval of the contracting officer, or if no hazardous waste indicates by government testing submitted that the plan be 21 to the blank days after the contractor's test given and indicate that hazardous waste disposal comply with the applicable requirements of federal, state, local hazardous waste regulations and shall be addressed in the following: identification of hazardous waste associated with the work, including the sampling, testing of these for each waste stream, proposed that of each test, rational evaluation of the test results, and indicating the representative sampling, specific testing method, and number of the samples, name and qualification of the testing laboratory, each quantities of the waste and disposal, cleaning of the tank, description of the arrangements of the storage and disposal. See the name and qualifications of each contractor which will be transporting or storing, treating, or disposing of the waste, including the facility location, 24-hour point of contact, furnished with 2 copies of the EPA state and local hazardous waste permit applications, permits, and the EPA identification numbers. The name of the qualification and experience of the training of the personnel who will be working on the site of the hazardous waste systems, listing waste handling equipment to be used in performing to the work, including the cleaning and treatment, volume reduction, transportation, equipment spill, preventing contamination, cleanup contingency measure to be implemented, work plan schedule for the waste removal, disposal cost of the hazardous waste according to the plan. 14117 tank certification, safety sub-certification, submitted certification from the NFPA to certified marine chemist to the certified industrial hygiene store, everything in the tank and safe from hot work and the special precautions measures that have been taken into the work to entry in the tank before working. Note to the training certification, delete the words of the bracketed that there are no lead gasoline hazards. Submit the certification signed and dated by the certified industrial hygiene specified by the testing plan. Each employee stating that the employee has been received in the training and work practices received, consulting, counseling, and fully understanding the reproductive hazards involved with loading and toluene exposures to the work. 14119 hazardous waste permit. Submitted a copy of the EPA state and local hazardous waste permit of the applications permits and the EPA identification numbers of the transport, treatment, storage, disposal facility that will be accepting the hazardous waste, including the facility location and 24-hour point of contact. And 14110 and non-hazardous waste permits that submitted the EPA state local permits, the disposal sites, and non-hazardous residue waste. 14112 test results. 14121 required tested reports. Submitted the test results required by the MIL A 22262 for blasting abrasives. Submitting the contractor independent testing of the tank contents, water, sediment, and sludge. 14112A the air monitoring. Submitted air monitoring result of the contracting officer within 2 working days after the samples, signing the testing laboratory employees of the performing of the airport monitoring. The employees acknowledge and analyze the same analyze the sample in the central certified industrial hygienist. 15 delivery of storage, delivery of equipment materials in the site of the undamaged condition of the manufacturer's name, the brand designation, store equipment of the material, the officer, some material off the ground is provided by proper ventilation, drainage protection against dampness for replace the effective damage of the equipment materials.